Hi, good afternoon. My name is Roland Eva, and today I'd like to talk to you about how to grow your business by looking in the rearview mirror. Now, you might think that's crazy. Steve Jobs famously said, you're always looking forward. You can't see the dots when you're going forward. You can only see them when you're going backwards. So why would I say something as crazy as that? Well, the answer is that because in business, as in life, I think there is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. And this is especially true when we think about the activity that we do to promote our businesses, whether it's networking, whether it's paying for advertising on Facebook or Google or Instagram or doing, magazine ads or newspaper ads, any kind of promotional activity. There's no such thing as failure. There's only, I didn't get the result I hoped. I am the first one to get a result that's better than I hoped and get up and I dance around the office. It's like, yes, I'm a genius. But then equally, when I get a result that's worse than what I hoped, it's like, where's the string? How quickly can I hang myself? Which of course is stupid. All it proves is that you didn't get the result that you were hoping for. It's that simple. So, before you switch off the ad campaign or before you think, oh my God, my life is over, you always need to look at what can you learn? What's the feedback lesson? Hey, even if you get a result that's better than what you hoped, again, what can you learn? What can you learn for next time? What can you learn so that you can repeat that level of success again and again? And that's what today's post is all about. Today's video is all about. Specifically, it's all about what levers can you pull? How can you improve your Facebook ads? If you're running Facebook ads, what do you need to look at to be able to say, this is working well, or this is working badly? So it's what I call success by numbers. So what numbers are you looking at? So let's just, let's take Facebook ads as an example. Facebook ads are easy, right? You just hit the boost button. Maybe, but that's not what I call advertising. What I call ads is if you're running conversion campaign. So this could be to, build an email list. It could be to fill a webinar, or maybe it's to sell a product. But the whole point is that you're running a conversion campaign. And if you're not running a conversion campaign, if you're not telling Facebook, find me these types of people, then you might as well take up smoking, and for every cigar that you smoke, just wrap it in a £50 note and then smoke it. So I know that's an extreme that's an extreme way of making this point, but once upon a time, back in the day, running Facebook ads, you could be a control freak, which is one of the reasons why I loved it. Yeah, I'm a control freak. So you could be a control freak, and you could get very, very skilled at finding the people who are interested in your message. Today, Facebook don't allow you to be a control freak, or to put it another way, you get much better results when you say to Facebook, okay, you are much better than me at finding the people that I need or want. So I'm going to tell you who I need, and then I'm just going to trust that you will go and find them at the best possible price. So that is a conversion campaign. You tell Facebook, go and find me people who want to register for webinars or want to buy my product or whatever it is. So what levers can you pull, or how do you know if what you're doing actually is, if it makes money, or if it's within an acceptable range? So, one way is to say, right, what is my cost per action, whether that's acquisition, whether it's registering for a webinar, whatever it is. So that's one measure. But of course, that is a fairly blunt tool. That gives you, light on or light off. I'm either getting the results for better than the result that I hoped, or worse than the result that I hoped. Great. That tells you one thing, but what it doesn't tell you is how can you improve? What do you need to do to either improve that result, or, like I say, what can you learn from that experience so that you can improve all of your results moving forward? So that's where you need to look at what levers you can pull. What are the success measures that indicate whether you're getting things right or wrong? So there are 3 success levers within Facebook, which is audience, ad performance, and page registration, or page conversion. So whether that's registration page for a webinar, whether it's a sales page, you're looking at page conversion. What's the conversion rate of that page? The page that you're sending people to from your ad. So let's talk about audience first. So here's the key thing. you cannot sell ice to Eskimos. I don't care how persuasive you are. You know, even if you can, you shouldn't, because you're not actually helping them. Yeah, so you can't sell ice to Eskimos, but you can sell water in the desert, and you can sell water in the desert at a very high price. So the first thing to look at is, are you trying to sell ice to Eskimos? If so, change that fast. Yeah. Whereas if you're trying to sell water in the desert, great, you've got the right audience and you've got the right offer for them. So that's the first thing to look at, because if you get that right, then everything else becomes a lot easier. Now, as I've said, now Facebook force you to allow them to choose the audience for you. You know, yes, you say to them, I want to target people with this interest, etc., etc. But if you're running a conversion campaign, ultimately they will go and find the people that you need. So they kind of make that easier, but certainly to begin with, you need to have some idea of who your audience is and what they want. So how do you know if you're getting it right or even close to right? Well, there are three things that you can look at. So one is social interaction, two is link click-through rate, and the third is relevance score. So let's look at each of these. So social interaction. So this you will find at the ad set level under engagement in the column section. And what does it show you? It shows you likes, shares, and comments. So how do you know if your message, i.e. if you're trying to sell water, how do you know if your message, selling water, if you're trying to sell it in the desert or if you're trying to sell it somewhere where water is in abundant supply? Well, if your message gets lots of social interactions, then you know that you're getting it right. You know that you're selling water in the desert. Also, you can see, you know, so if you're getting a lot of likes and a lot of shares, you're doing great. You know, similarly, if people comment, you know, positively, then great, you're doing good things, continue doing it. You know that your message is in front of the right audience. Great, done. Move on. So what about the second thing, link click-through rate? So this partly tells you about the performance of your ad, but it looks at the audience, because, you know, fundamentally you're saying, am I putting my offer in front of the right audience, in front of the right people? And if your link click-through rate, so the percentage of people that click through from your ad to your landing page, if your link click-through rate is 1% or above, then you're doing really well. So your ad copy is great, and also you've got the right audience. Because, as I keep saying, if you get the right audience, whatever you're selling becomes a lot easier. So you can sell fresh water in the desert at a very high price, but you can't sell ice to Eskimos. So link click-through rate tells you if you've got the right offer for the right audience. And then the final thing is relevance score. So where do you find relevance score? You go into the ad category in your business manager, and then you click through to the performance tab in the column section. And the relevance score is a number from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. And, you know, this is a very simple measure. Anything above 7 or 7 and above means you're doing well. Anything below 7, you need to work on it. Now that could be, you know, your ad copy, it could be the image. There's all kinds of things that fit together into relevance score. But part of that measure is your audience match. You know, is your audience interested in what you have to say or what you have to offer? And if they're not, then your relevance score is going to be 3 or 4. And what does that mean? It means the cost to show your ads is going to be very high. And guess what? You're likely to be spending a lot of money getting the action that you want. So those are the 3 measures that indicate whether you've got your audience match right. What about ad performance? So audience match is the first indicator of whether you're getting things right. The second indicator is ad performance. So there are 4 things that you need to look at in terms of, well, there's 4 elements within your ad that you can manipulate or you can improve. So the first is image, the second is headline, the third is the body copy, and the fourth is the button. So the image is the most important. You know, Facebook is the world's largest photo sharing site. So you've got to have a picture, and you've got to have a picture that's going to grab people's attention. And you want a picture that's going to get attention, but also a picture that's going to pull in your right audience. So you don't want, if you're selling tax advice, yeah, you could have a picture of a naked woman and it's going to get attention, but it's not going to get attention of the people that actually want tax advice. So it's not helping your ad. It's not helping you, it's certainly not going to increase your relevance score or anything like that. So you want a picture that's going to pull in your ideal customer. So partly you can say, does this picture embody the offer? So if you're selling water in the desert, guess what? Have a picture of a glass of water. Pretty simple, right? If you're selling yourself in some way in terms of advice, then have a picture of yourself or have a picture of whoever is delivering a training or whatever it is. Yeah. There are other things that you can do, but certainly, just look at what do your friends share. They share pictures of themselves on holiday. They share pictures of, themselves in a car, in front of the car, in front of the house. Hey, they also share pictures of what they ate for lunch. But look at the pictures that you're interested in. What are the pictures that grab your attention? Chances are they're pictures where they're on holiday, so pictures of faces in cool places. So faces in cool places is going to grab attention. So that's the first thing, image. Second thing is headline. So David Ogilvy, one of the most famous advertisers in history, he said that no words are read more than your headline. And he's absolutely right, because guess what? We are all pressed for time. We are all saying, is this worth my time? Is this going to help me in some way? So how do we decide that? We look at the headline and we decide, hey, is this going to help me or hurt me or waste my time? So if you don't get from the headline what's in it for you, chances are you're going to skip. You're going to move on to something else. So your headline needs to pull in your ideal customer. It needs to say, hey, give me 5 minutes of your time and this is the better life that I'm going to talk to you about. Or, well, that's essentially it. Give someone a front row seat to a better life. So, if you're going to give me, hey, maybe 5 minutes is too much. Give me 30 seconds of your time and I'm going to talk to you about this, which is something that you want. So that's number one is image, number two is headline. So we're moving on to number three, which is body copy. Now, I call this the meat and potatoes of everything. Now, guess what? As a copywriter, I'm going to think it's the most important. But as I've already said, no, actually, the image is the most important. But the body copy pulls people in to what you have to say. And ultimately, it preps them for what's going to happen next. So your body copy needs to make people, it needs to motivate people to take action. It needs to inspire people to, want to change their lives, to want to do something different. Whether that's to, opt in for your ebook, whether it's to register for a webinar, or whether it's to buy your product. But ultimately, if you just have, 3 lines of text and then a link, people are going to get to your landing page, they're going to look at it and they're going to bounce. And you're going to end up wasting a lot of money. So what you need to do is have a long copy ad, 500 words, 800 words, 1,000 words, yeah? A long copy ad that pulls people through it, so lots of people might say, nobody reads that much copy. Who the hell would read that much copy? And you're right, most people won't. The person that will read that much copy is the person that's actually interested in what you have to offer, the person that's actually interested and is willing to take action. So write long copy that's going to pull through the right people. And then the fourth thing is button. So the button on your ad, it can say learn more, it can say download, it can, there's various options of what it can say. Now, personally, I haven't spent enough money to be able to say whether you have learn more or something else, it makes a big difference. What I can tell you is that the big three, as I call them, are image, headline, and body copy. Something as simple as keep all of the body copy the same, keep the headline the same, but just change the image, that can give your ad a boost. So, those are the three things that I would focus on because they're going to give you the biggest return on your time investment. But of course, how do you know if you've got a good ad? How do you know if you've got a high performing ad? Well, number one is look at social interaction. If you're getting a large amount of likes to shares, you're getting a large amount of social interaction. So likes and shares, guess what? That shows that people are interested in what your ad says. They like it. They want to share it with people that they know. Similarly, link click-through rate. Anything above 1%, so of the people that read through your copy, especially if it's long copy, if more than 1% of them click through to your landing page, then what does that tell you? It tells you that you've got a really high-performing ad, that even though you've got a lot of copy, people want to read it. People want to read it, and it motivates them to take action. And then the third thing was relevance score. And again, if you've got a high-performing ad, i.e. you've got a good picture, you've got a good headline, and you've got good body copy, your relevance score is going to go up. Why? Because your audience is interested in your ad. So those are the three things that will show you, one, if you've got the right audience, but two, if you've got a high-performing ad. So that's social interaction, link click-through rate, and relevance score. So this takes us on to the third and final thing, which is the conversion of your landing page. So if you're getting, it could be the case that you've got a high-performing ad that you've put in front of the right people, but your webinar registration rate or your cost per sale, your cost per action is still sky high. And if that's the case, then you need to look at the conversion of your landing page. So if you build it in something like lead pages will tell you what it's converting at. So let's say your landing page is converting at 10%. Well, great. That tells you you've got a lot of room for improvement. Yeah. And I had a landing page, it was converting at 8%. I made some changes primarily to the headline, but I made some changes to the page, put it live again, and suddenly it was converting at 42%. So if you've got a landing page that's converting at 10%, you're making some very big mistakes that you can change quickly that could easily double the response to 20%. Well, that halves your cost per acquisition. Hey, what if you go from 10% to 40%? You've just quartered your cost per acquisition. So there are so many things that there are so many levers that you can pull in terms of improving your cost per acquisition, improving how well you're promoting your business. So don't just look at what you're doing and either do a dance in celebration that you're getting a result that's better than you hoped, or looking to hang yourself because it's worse than what you thought. Yeah, and always look at the three things, which is, are you getting the audience right? Do you have a high-performing ad? And is your landing page converting? And in terms of the two things within Facebook, what are the indicators? The indicators are social interaction, link click-through rate, and relevance score. Those are the levers that you can pull. Those are the indicators that tell you whether you've got something that's working or something that's not. So now it's your turn. As I said, don't just look at a result of what happened and either celebrate or drown your sorrows. You've got to look at it as every step you take is a learning step. Everything tells you what you need to do next. Everything gives you very, critical real-world feedback. Real-world feedback on whether you've got the right audience, whether you've got the right offer, whether you've got a high-converting landing page. And each of those things are ways in which you can improve so that you can promote your business in a more effective way to the right people, and guess what? Get much, much better results on both your money and on your time. So I hope you found this useful. If so, please leave a comment below. And if you know a business owner or a service provider who is struggling to get their voice out there, that is struggling to get their name known in the market, then please share it with them because I believe that it can help them. So until next time, carpe diem.